Hello, everyone, and welcome to this here session of Bardic Quest, the show where British trained actors tell fantastical improvised stories through the medium of Dungeons and Dragons. Just before we start, I wanted to give a shout out to Sirenscape, who are the guys who are providing us with all the ambience and music and sound effects and things. It's an app that you can download onto your computer or device or whatever to create background noise for your D&D games live in session, not necessarily over Zoom and things like this. So do check them out, sirenscape.com. Really appreciative of them allowing us to use their sound effects and music. We also have a bit of news as well, in that for those who want to join us on our adventures whilst on the go, on your commute, doing housework or walking the dog or whatever, we've now launched the podcast version of the show. So because we've designed the show in such a particular way that it can be consumed as audio only, i.e. using theatre of the mind for combat, etc., you should be able to enjoy the show just audio only without losing any of the experience. So do check that out. It will be available on Apple Podcast, on Spotify, or whatever app catcher, podcast catcher of choice you might want to use. So let's jump into this session of Bardic Quest. Last time saw the human fighter Saga, the halfling bard Sergei, and the dwarf cleric Thoric meet for the first time at the tavern known as the Beached Leviathan in Neverwinter. They were there to meet with Gundren Rockseeker, who was looking for adventurers to hire for some work, escorting supplies to the frontier town of Phandelver near the Sword Mountains. The next day, after bullying Sergei into accompanying or allowing him to accompany him to Thoric and Saga, Johann Hale joined the group. And following a day of making money in the fighting pits, Saga caught the eye of one Halfran Loren, who was quite taken by her fighting prowess. After the group acquired the supplies which needed escorting, they departed the city of Neverwinter, heading south along the high road. And the first night of travel saw the group battling the elements as a powerful storm made its presence felt along the route, a storm which certainly seemed out of place for the time of year. The following day, with sunset fast approaching, the group happened upon a skirmish between a knight, his companion, and a group of cultists and their kobold minions. The group made quick work of this band of cultists, which, much to the appreciation of the knight Bartolome and his companion Sithra, both of the Order of the Gauntlet. So with night setting in, we now find the group making camp with Bartolome and Sithra, now sat around a campfire preparing a meal before they retire for the night. Notably, Sergei is not with the group, having gone to forage for some more food and supplies, off to the side of the road, a little bit further into the hills, and has not yet returned from his foraging. Bartolome sits sharpening his sword, and he looks at you all and asks, "So, tell me, have you observed any other cultist activity on your travels?"
Nay, I've not come across anyone quite like this. Heard tales, of course, of those wee dragony, lizardy looking things up in the mountains sometimes, you hear tales, but I've not seen any myself.
And what brings you down this high road?
Well, me and my friends here are looking after this here cart, heading for Phandelver.
Phandelver, you say?
Aye.
I'm familiar. I've never been myself, but I know of people there.
And how about yourselves? What brings you on the road?
Well, I'm afraid to say the cultist activity that you've witnessed today is really the cause of our journey. I'm afraid to say that this is no isolated incident. We tracked the particular group of cultists and kobolds that we engaged with earlier from further south down the high road after they robbed and killed a travelling cheesemonger.
Why?
We don't know. Perhaps for sport. Perhaps the cheesemonger had information that they needed. It's difficult to tell at this point. We are on our way to Neverwinter currently to gather some intel from others of our order who have also been dealing with this cultist activity.
From what cult do they hail? Whom do they serve?
We suspect the cult of the dragon.
Dragons. Perfect. Which dragon?
All, I think. They are known to worship the goddess of dragons, Tiamat.
Thoric spits on the ground. Is that slug?
You do not think highly of dragons?
Dragons in general, if they keep themselves to themselves, it's no hair plucked from my chin. But no, the goddess of dragons is known to me and my people, and they do enjoy slithering into our holds and making off with our treasures of old.
Have you ever come face to face with one?
Luckily, no. There's not been dragons in my parts for many centuries now. But
you are lucky, very lucky indeed.
Aye.
What, you have a dragon problem?
Well, if you've been lucky enough not to come into the path of one, you are certainly lucky indeed. They realm the Sword Coast quite openly at times. Luckily, they are few and far between, but it's certainly not unheard of. Rumours abound that there is a dragon active not far from this region here, in the Sword Mountains.
And what's driven the cultists out of the mountains?
Well, that remains unknown to us. But there is certainly an uptick in cultist activity. They're certainly preparing for something, or actively doing something.
What are they doing? Just killing people, or?
That remains unclear, in all honesty. There are sometimes raids, sometimes murders. There doesn't seem to be, at this point, however, any sort of
What do these
motive.
cultists look like? What do these raiders look like?
Much like the men that we encountered on the road earlier today. They wear a lot of black. Some wear purple, but they are much rarer to be seen. Most of them are just wearing black leather masks, which have a kind of draconic motif to them, I suppose.
My eyes dart to smouldering pile of corpses that were once the cultists. Sorry about that.
Well, they were murderers in their own right, and justice comes for us all eventually.
That it does.
And Sithra, the woman, looks to you, Johan, and she says, "Forgive me, you look almost out of place amongst these folk. What brings
Funny.
you here?
I was about to say the same.
About me or about yourself?"
About you. It's not often people brandish their freakish gifts so openly.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean.
Oh, you know very
He's a
well
touch
what I mean.
sensitive. Sorry, he's a touch sensitive about the whole, and Thoric does the magical fingers thing, and
Oh, I see.
Thankfully, you travel in the companionship of this knight. No doubt your keeper or guardian, the one who keeps you in check from losing control, or
Keeper, she's not a dog.
she is to some.
Well, this is a mite awkward. I'm sorry that my gifts offend you.
They don't offend me. Just ignore him.
May I ask why such things create such a extreme reaction for you?
My companions are under the impression that I am under some kind of prejudice, that I merely dislike you because perhaps I was spurned as a child, or perhaps some romantic gesture that went wrong on my part. But my prejudice is born from something real. Yes, you're all healers, you're all good intentioned, you're all magnificent works of wonder until you decide not to be. And then you can do untold damage before you're finally put down. So forgive me if I see you for what you are, other than what people think you should be. And if you'd seen what I was seeing, you too would be wary.
Under my experience, anyone can be evil, even if they can't do magic.
I prefer to trust in my blade than any foul deals with creatures from beyond or aberrations at birth.
And if I may ask, what has been your experience that has created such a strong feeling for you?
Bit of a personal question.
By all means, you don't need to answer. I'm just intrigued. But if it is too touchy of a subject, I'm happy to forget about it entirely.
My associates and I have a duty to ensure that magic uses of ill intent are put down permanently.
Any magic users indiscriminate of their intentions?
We keep a watchful eye on those who decide for now to use their gifts for good, but should any of them stray from the path, we will be there, waiting.
Does that mean you'll be keeping an eye on me now?
I'm already keeping an eye on you, witch.
She kind of awkwardly looks at her feet, chuckling to herself almost, but trying not to show it.
You said that Sithra was a dwarf as well?
No, she's a human woman, white-haired,
Oh,
short white-haired woman, yeah.
Thoric sort of, he's just drinking some of their stores, and he's just like, Aye, but Johan, if you've got one eye on me and one eye on her, what if we go in two different directions? You'll end up cross-eyed, won't you?
Saga laughs at them.
As do Bartolome and Sithra.
Allow myself a weak smile, and then quickly turn my eyes back to Sithra.
Well, I suppose we should probably settle in for the night. Yes, I will head to my tent, and we shall see you in the morning. And he bows, and Sithra kind of stands up, and she nods her head to all of you, and they both head off to their respective tents, in inverted commas.
Great.
The knight does not know very much about these cultists, and yet they attack him. I think he knows more than he's telling us.
Well,
he's so
you didn't
suspicious.
exactly give them a warm welcome. Why should they trust us?
Trust is overrated.
Well, if they say that they've been finding other attacks on the road and they've been attacking merchants but not taking their stores, we should be careful.
Yeah, it's bizarre of raiders not to loot as well.
Wayne, did they specifically say that they didn't take any of the cheesemonger's wares?
No, they didn't specify. No,
Okay.
just that they killed him.
Okay. I might ask in the morning then.
Yes,
Hey, what?
we are all sleepy.
Well, I'm
And
happy
I'm
to
still
take
bleeding.
Wait, Thorok just suddenly looks at me. By the divine, come here, right, let me patch you up. Sorry, I didn't even realise you've got so much black clothing you can't really see the blood.
Yeah, it's kind of the point.
And Thorok, just with no preamble, just goes up and just starts like trying to sort the room. Like, right, well, I'll have this in a jiffy for you. And you see him start to kind of take his holy symbol rings across his fingers, and they start to glow.
Don't you dare!
What?
Don't you dare!
You'd prefer death or pain? Over
I prefer
healing?
bandages.
You may heal me, Thoric.
With pleasure. I would like to cast Cure Wounds.
Yeah.
So, I believe. Oh, thank you very much. I believe I get a wee bonus as well for my domain. Just checking.
Or I think you may.
Do continue. I'm just going to check. I have the right. It might. Oh, it will be on D&D Beyond probably.
It certainly
Yes.
will.
It will. Spells. Lovely. 1d8 plus 5.
Nice.
So if I click it, will it cast it?
Yeah.
It will.
It should. It's coming up now.
Here it comes.
Taking a while.
It is taking a while.
Can I ask Wayne,
Is it-
will I be any healed after a long rest?
Yes, I believe you also have a point of exhaustion. 9. God,
Is that
was a
9?
delay.
Yeah, that gives me back up to 4. So
Oh, amazing. You're most welcome.
Yeah, I mean,
Dennis-
in reality, you will be healed after your
Yeah.
long rest.
Yeah, I knew that. I'm just, you know.
Yeah, for
think
Ollie's
Someone's gonna.
for Ollie's
someone's offering
benefit.
to heal you. You take it.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I get my spell slots back, and it'll be all right as long as we complete the rest. But who knows?
But,
I'm sure it'll all be fine.
Yeah, in answer to your question, Ollie, yes, you will be healed from your long rest, and I believe you'll lose your point of exhaustion, your level
Yay.
of exhaustion, which, thankfully for you, didn't really come into much effect, which is lucky.
Well, it was a bit of a close run thing.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So what would you like to do next?
Unless there's anything worth investigating. Have we woken up now, or are we asleep?
Oh no,
now?
this is still nighttime.
Is there anything worth gleaning from the corpses of the cultists? Any information that could help us that the night hasn't been able to give?
Give me an investigation check.
Oh, I'm so good at that. Oh, that would be a natural 20.
Although,
Ooh.
because you have not yet slept, you do need to do that with disadvantage.
Yeah. Natural one. Come on.
Oh,
Well, 2 plus 6, which is 8.
that's a good bonus on your investigation there. You kind of rummage through, try and find, any iconography or anything. There doesn't really seem to be much there. They actually seem to be fairly nondescript in their choice of outfits, aside from these masks, which you've both seen and the knight referred to, which have kind of got this kind of draconic kind of element to them with the I don't even know what you call them on the heads of, almost like the antlers, but that's definitely not the right word.
Horns.
Well, yeah, but there's kind
Scales?
of that kind of frill
Protrusion?
kind of ness to them.
Oh,
to the
yeah, I
horns.
get you.
Do you know what I mean?
Like a fan?
I get you.
Like a
Yeah.
spine?
It's
Fine.
spine, maybe, yeah. And that kind of motif of them kind of being elongated and kind of almost brushed back.
Like the one in Jurassic Park 3?
It's been a long time since I've seen that film, but yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah. So that kind of draconic motif, but beyond that, there's not really much that kind of gives them away for being anything in particular, or no sign of really much in the way of loot or anything like that. It's almost like they're just bandits in so many respects, but with this very specific clothing.
Damn. Nothing. We'll have to find our answers elsewhere. Unless you two have any ideas.
I
Well,
don't recognize these bandits at all.
I've only heard tales of them, not seen much of them, to be honest. And anyway, yeah, sorry, you're bringing out the mother hen in me. Can you sit down, please? Just stop moving about. And Thoric is going to wash his hands in some water. And this is more for flavour than anything else.
Sure.
He just wants to, clean Johann's wound with some, hot water and, stitch his wound shut with and just basically make sure that he's fine and he's not going to get... Nothing's going to get infected.
Sure. That's going to take you a fair bit of time, so I don't know if there's any conversation that would be taking place at that point.
Johann sits down and takes his medicine like a good boy.
There we are. So as he's sort of stitching up the wound, he's just while I'm doing that, do I see any other scars on Johann?
Johann.
Yeah, you do.
And do they look like none of them were healed with magic or healed properly at all? Do some of them look, I don't know, like they were just sort of left and hoped for the best? Or
Some of them, yeah. I think if they had been healed with magic, not many of them, or hardly any of them, would have scarred. But because they've been done kind of on the fly, or they've been cuts on cuts, or signs of magic damage, then they haven't healed properly. So he does have a few scars. And
Where are these scars? Like arms,
chest,
chest.
arms, legs, some creeping up my neck. But his face may have one or two, not like Geralt scars,
yeah.
but enough to... He's done a fair bit of fighting with odds that are usually stacked against him.
Seems like you don't have a lot of friends, Johann.
goes to say something, but then closes his mouth. Mind your stitches, dwarf.
Be a good boy now, and he'll just Thoric will just jab him with the needle in the ribs behind him. Like, oh, sorry, and then continue.
Seeing his reaction, Saga suddenly feels bad, and she's like, just hands him a cup of water.
Thank you.
Look, I know you're probably not going to change your opinion overnight, and I won't expect it, but I can promise you, you don't need to worry about me, if anyone. The gods put me on this world to stitch wounds, not cause too many of them. Maybe a few. But only if they're particularly nasty.
You fight well for a healer.
Aye, well, it's one and the same in my people. There's not a lad or lass who hasn't trained with axe or hammer or crossbow or, a few spell weavers amongst us. Everyone's called to arms when our cities are attacked.
Maiden, you fight well also.
No one's called me that in a long time.
I have not met many women who fight as you do.
And I've not met as many men who wield a sword as well as you.
I must admit, I was taught by a man. Men.
Who taught you?
My late husband.
Was it long ago?
6 months, 7 months.
Aye, I'm sorry.
He probably deserved it.
Only
He
the
was a
gods know
murderer.
what we deserve. Oh.
Yeah.
What happened?
To him.
And
He
you?
died in a rage. That's what they told me. Magic users, apparently. But like I said, he probably deserved it. Then she kind of takes a few steps away.
She is a strange one.
I've met a stranger. I tell you what, my old mum would like her. That woman's got dwarvish blood in her. It's just an expression. She's too tall for a dwarf, probably.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And you might want to consider carrying a shield, You should block less blows with your body, It only takes so much.
I tried it. Weighed me down too much, and I like to be quick.
Aye. You are that, I must say.
But I will need a shield. Hopefully, we can protect each other.
Saga wanders back. Where's Sergei?
Oh yes,
He'll
I
be back
forgot
by
about
now.
him.
Thorg looks around, he's like, he was right. He was right. He was there. Where's
He's
the
usually so loud.
I thought it was quiet.
And the air smelled better.
Aye.
You cannot wander alone forever. You'll return soon.
Well, we'll keep an eye and maybe send out a search party at some point if he doesn't come back.
I mean, we would have heard something, surely.
I hope so.
As long as the cart and its contents are safe, that's all we need concern about at this juncture.
Aye. But, Johan, I appreciate what you said. And you can count on me to protect your squishy bits. And Thoric, does that thing where he, starts tickling Johan in the ribs, just digging his thumbs in. Probably in and around the scars and wounds and stuff like that.
Don't do that. Stop it. No, stop that. Stop that. I don't like it.
He slaps him on the back. You're all right, Johan.
Thank you.
He sort of just raises his eyebrows at Saga and says, "Well, I'm happy to take first watch if you like."
I'm happy. Wake me if the witch does anything dangerous.
Oh, aye. She makes any spooky potions or something like that.
You laugh, but yes, that as well.
I'll let you know.
I offer a curt bow and go over to my sleeping roll.
Okay,
Yeah.
and Saga, you as well?
Yeah, I sort of uneasily go to sleep. Try and sleep.
Okay. So the evening passes pretty much uneventfully. You're all very aware on your watch of keeping an eye out for Sergei, but no sign really comes. Just before we move on to the next day, do make sure you reduce on your character sheet any food that you will have needed to eat on this past day, as well as any water as well. I suspect water might be of a priority for you this next day.
Okay. How do we do that? Manage inventory?
Yes, I believe so.
I'm also going to take long rest.
Oh yes, and also take long rest. As per D&D Beyond, which I think does it really quite quickly for you, which is lovely.
Indeed.
So, the next morning, you wake up. It's a fairly clear sky, albeit very cold, as we are in the middle of winter. But plenty of life in the surrounding area. You can hear the birds tweeting, the wild livestock grazing. Still no sign of Sergei, however. But Bartolome and Sarith awaken and leave their bedrolls and tents. And you see them starting to prepare to leave before Bartolome heads over to you Saga and Thoric. He doesn't pay you much heed, Johan, I'm afraid. But he has a scroll of parchment in his hand. And he says, when you reach Phandelver, I would appreciate if you could seek out one Darren Edomath. He's from my order. And if you provide him with this, and he hands you the scroll, he will be able to guide you with everything that you might need.
The scroll is not magic, is it?
Oh,
No.
can you calm down for 1 second?
I investigate the scroll.
I try and I snatch it off him.
Thoric slaps both their hands. It's like, stop it, we've just woken up. Thank you very much. It's very kind.
And I take the paper and I wave it in front of Johan's face and go, "Ooh, no, you might get a paper cut."
Stop that. You stop that. Kind of like when Woody pushes Buzz Lightyear's helmet back and he's like, "How dare you open a spaceman's helmet?"
What was the name of the person we're meant to see, sorry?
Darren Edemath.
Edemath.
Is he a human or who are we looking for?
He is a elf.
An elf?
An elf.
Oh.
Well, half elf to be precise. He's on the older side, shall we say, even for a half elf. He's
right.
a member of my order. Well, former member of my order, shall we say. But he'll be able to guide you with anything that you might need. A useful contact to have, I think.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
I appreciate that.
Well, I wish you luck on your journey. If you happen to see any cultists, do tread carefully. They, as you have seen, have a tendency for violence at present with whatever gives them speed. I wish you well. He nods and he pats Sithra on the shoulder and kind of guides her over to their route.
Do you think this is going to keep happening? People asking us to do things for them?
I think so.
We're going to need a box for all the scrolls we're going to encounter.
Don't worry, I can hold the scary scrolls.
I think he's more worried about ruining his dark aesthetic. We wouldn't
Shall
want
we
anyone
continue?
thinking you can, read or write or anything there, would we?
Shall we continue on?
I'm going to try and find us some water. I can hear you, and I can probably snap you like a twig. Do you want to continue?
Do you?
Go on, then.
Stop it, the pair of you. Come on, what is this?
You started it.
I'll finish it. So behave yourselves, the pair of you.
So Anini, you're going to go looking for water, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I used up all of my personal water.
All of your water.
I'm going to try and find us some water because I am good at the survival.
Sure. Let's go with a survival check then, please.
Okay, +1. Let's roll a real dice for a change.
Yay!
6.
Ah,
That wasn't good.
that's a shame.
That is a shame.
So you wander through some of the fields and hills in the hopes of really trying to find some sort of little stream somewhere. You're in hills. There's bound to be one somewhere, perhaps. But your search comes up with nothing, I'm afraid.
I come back looking really pissed off.
Did you find no water, maiden? Never mind.
Don't even think about it.
Perhaps I should try and find some.
Down in it while you're at it, will you?
Walks
I'm
away.
sure If Saga couldn't find any, I'm sure there just isn't any here currently.
Yeah.
We'll find somewhere further down our road, maybe.
I squint ahead as if looking for a yellow car.
Okay, so what are you guys doing next then?
Are we gonna head off?
Get back in the car.
Well, can we just check where? Can we find Sergei's footprints?
Yeah, track to
Oh,
them.
sure. Yeah, if you could give me a, I guess it's a survival check as well.
Oh, I'm going to use one of my actual dice as well. Hopefully I have better luck.
Do we all roll or just the two gents?
If you're looking for it together, you can all roll, and so long as the majority of you pass.
Don't split the party.
I've rolled
Well,
a 22.
these dice suck. I am
14.
not... 5.
5.
Survival's my proficiency. What's wrong with me?
Maybe you should go back to the digital dice.
Yeah, maybe I should. Maybe this is the sign that digital dice will be kinder to me.
So you got a 14, Johan, and what was yours, Thoric?
A 22.
Oh, nice. So you kind of walk around trying to find sign of his footprints. It was a dry night, so thankfully none of the mud's been kind of washed away. And you managed to find some footprints headed in a sort of easterly direction. Because where you met the cultists was at the trailhead where the high road meets the tribal trail. So the high road heading south and the tribal trail headed east. So you see the footprints kind of headed in that direction.
So we are heading east.
You would
for
be
our-
heading east, yeah.
Okay. And I sort of point them out and sort of with one of my thick fingers just kind of like draw a mark in the road and kind of brush away some grass and point and be like, there's our Sergei. I kind of like smell him like, oh, even his footprints stink. I hope there's a bathhouse in Phandelver. Do you think there's a bathhouse? Maybe we should have asked him. I forgot to ask them the question about the thing. I'm all hither and thither today. Honestly, I can't put one foot in front of the other. Sergei went this way.
Is it towards Phandelver?
Aye, for now. We'll keep an eye.
We'll head that way.
We must stay with the cart, whatever happens.
Don't worry. I suppose Thoric will drive again.
Sure. Okay. So you hop on the wagon.
Yeah, I'm gonna climb up this one.
What about you, Johan? You hopping on the wagon or are you walking at the side?
I'll walk at the side for now,
Okay,
but along keeping pace with the cart.
sure. So you hop on, and Johan, you stay at the side, keeping an eye out for anything, and you continue along your way towards Phandelver.